Welcome back to another episode of NFL News on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host, Terry, and today I want to talk about Antonio Brown and Aaron Rodgers. We'll start with Antonio Brown. So I think if you listen to this, you know by now the drama that went on with Antonio Brown and the Buccaneers. Also his past history with other teams. And so recently, I think last night sometime, Antonio Brown released a statement, or I believe his lawyer released a statement that was explaining his side of the story of what happened during the Jets game and why he left the field and all of that. And so everybody, including me, I wouldn't even, obviously I wasn't like running around saying it, but everybody in the media was, immediately going to something's mentally wrong with him. People that don't give him any, empathy say that he's just a jerk, whatever. And so they immediately just trashed Antonio Brown. And as they said, they didn't know what it was about. They didn't really care. They just were like, oh, you knew this was going to happen. You knew this was going to happen. You knew this was going to happen. And one thing that I'll say before we get into the details is, I don't understand the discussion in the media and on, it's mostly the media. I think these are just biased people that have an agenda against him because they talk so much about Bruce Arians and Tom Brady owning the mistake. That was the topic of debate for these stupid debate shows. Should we blame Tom Brady? And it's like, blame them for what? They won a Super Bowl. The only person that I heard that made any sense was Chris Broussard. And I'm like, I agree with him. Like, what did they lose? They won a Super Bowl. You had over a year of AB being productive for the most part, roughly a year. Actually, no, we're at the end of, so yeah. But obviously, you had half a season in the playoffs with them. They won a Super Bowl. So what? I mean, that's what you call a flyer. You take a flyer for a reason because you aren't going to lose much if it doesn't go well, but you might be able to get some production while it's going. And that's exactly what AB did. So I do not understand all these people. He hurt the Bucs, blah, blah, blah. Now, obviously, Chris Godwin is hurt. And so they would like to have a veteran receiver, but to say that they hurt the Bucs as if they knew that was going to happen to Godwin or they brought him in to be the emergency receiver is just not true. And it's a dumb narrative. I really don't understand that. What is there to blame? They accomplished their goal. They have a ring, not because of him, but with him. And so who cares if it was this week or if week one that something happened, they had to cut him. They brought him in last year and did what they had to do. So anyway, the narrative was just that he imploded, whatever. No real questions of what happened, just he went crazy. It's AB. And I think AB is a perfect example of what I talk about when I talk about the power of the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to go deep into it, but when we talk about power and privilege, a lot of times it boils down to this idea of the benefit of the doubt is what I meant to say. So the power of the benefit of the doubt is for real. And you see it here with AB. He has no benefit of the doubt. So most people didn't even care what happened. They were just like, he went crazy. So he put out the statement and essentially says that he had a severe ankle injury. And he told them this. He told them he wasn't sure he was going to be able to play, blah, blah, blah. They pushed him to play. They pushed him to take a injection to numb the pain and everything so he could play. He played, but then he said he reached a point where he didn't think it was safe to keep playing. So he didn't go back in. Then Bruce Arians got in his face about it, told him that he's done because he said he won't go in, did like the throat slash. And so after that, AB was like, I'm not about to stay here on the sideline. I'm not about to wear this logo of this place that's like really turned on me and whatever. So I'm going to leave. Okay. And then there's a lot more detail about how he went and he basically got receipts. He went, got an MRI, an emergency MRI. He's got like all the proof that the injury is there. He's got proof that Bruce Arians knew about the injury, even though Bruce Arians said he didn't. He's got proof that the GM knew about it, and he knew that Bruce Arians knew about it, that they pushed him to take that injection, all this stuff. So, okay, AB laid out the details. Now, to me, what I said immediately upon reading it is, I agree. I believe him. I believe 100% by putting out this narrative that AB just went crazy, which is easy for people to consume. I believe that's true. I believe they pushed him to play. They do it all the time. They shoot people up all the time. And that I 100% believe. Bruce Arians is a hot motor person, we'll say. And so I could 100% believe he had that outburst at him. We've seen his outburst before. If you watch his practices and stuff, we've seen him get very emotional over decisions and then need to calm down. So I believe that 100%. And so that being said, I still don't agree with Antonio Brown's actions, because Antonio Brown said some things, like I said, I agree with, whereas you can't just treat him like a second-class citizen, as he said, just because he had a bad past or that, you know, he's going through things or whatever. You can't use that as an excuse to just dismiss what he's saying. And I agree. And like I said, I agree with all the other stuff. However, while he said he's working on himself and blah, 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 he needs to acknowledge, and he's never acknowledged, his own reactions to actions. And I'm not saying there's a legitimate reason behind everything he's ever done, but in this case, okay, you might be in the right to be upset, but that does not mean you react that way. Again, this is your professionalism, and a lot of players that don't have talent can't get away with not being completely professional because it causes headaches, and nobody's going to pay somebody that causes them headaches. Obviously, it's different for people with talent, but still, I think AB was at a point where, much like some of these NBA superstars, where you get too much rope and you just think you're above it all. Obviously, he's got knocked down a few times, but he's still at a point where he needs to come to grips with his own actions. And so we always do this in our society today. Social media, sports media don't help. It's black or white, one or the other. Whose fault is it? It's both. Two things could be true at once. The Bucs, I 100% believe, probably were in the wrong. And then the fact that Bruce Arians denied he even knew about the ankle just shows you they liars. But also, AB's in the wrong because it's about how you react. Like, you control that part. You can't control them trying to screw you over. You can control how you react. And not to mention that you know that when you do something like that, you are an easy target to get railroaded. If you would have, and I completely understand people resisting power. So this, like, some people brush that off, but I believe in that on an oppression level. I understand that. So if you didn't want to wear that logo, you don't want to be associated with it, okay. You could go into the blue tent. You could take the jersey off, whatever, and just put on a jacket. You could go into the blue tent and change into your street clothes. You could ask the coach, can I go into the locker room and change my clothes, or can I just be excused? You can do that. Versus you can just run around the field shirtless. Like, that was your choice. And so I'm not, defending what he did, but the narrative and discussion needs to change when we're just sitting here throwing this man under the bus as if the Bucs couldn't be complicit in something bad. And so that's my feelings on AB. All right, Aaron Rodgers. I don't understand the hate with Aaron Rodgers. I never did. I never understood it. I know I'm a Bears fan. I know I do Bears episodes, and I've said it on there many times because I'm a football fan above everything. I'm a football fan above everything. I know there's a lot of mindless fans that just, my team, we're 0 15, we won a game. I don't care. Every other team sucks. We won. Like, I get it. People like to share memes and stupid posts and laugh, and I guess it makes them feel better about their life. Cool. People fan in different ways. Not the way I fan. So I have no problem admitting Aaron Rodgers' absolute incredible talent. And so I get the hate that I see personally living in Chicago and then in the Chicago area, in Illinois in general, or Bears in general, because Bears are all over the place. But I get that part. I don't think it's delusional. I think most of them people know that in their heart that they sound silly or that they're not right, but it makes them feel good. So that's cool, whatever. But it's the other people and the media people that I just really do not get, because a lot of times before he did the Pat McAfee show, it was always about his attitude and everything else. And this is all tied into this Habarkish thing in which he says he wasn't voting for Aaron Rodgers since the summer. And he's a Bears writer, so you know how that looks. My thing is, and Aaron Rodgers said this, is y'all don't know him. Most of the time, y'all don't know any of these people. And so this goes beyond football. On social media especially, I see people making these comments and whatever about people they have no clue about. And so if you don't personally know somebody, there's only two things you go off: actions and words. And so if you go off, if somebody you're not around to listen to them speak all the time, or they don't give much in the media, then obviously you just have to go off some of the things that they've done. And maybe that's off the field, on the field, whatever. And then if these people do things and they are talkative, then you might have more context. Like I said with AB, if AB never said nothing today, we have one thought about what happened. But because we saw his actions. But when you put his words to it, now we get a little better context. Again, doesn't make it right, but it gives us better context. So you could really only go off words and actions. So if you don't hear a lot from Aaron Rodgers, and my example would be the summer, you didn't hear anything from Aaron Rodgers. Well, then you got to go off the actions and then people make up their own, opinions from that. His only action over the summer was to pretty much hold out. That's all he really did. Now, somebody tell me how that's different from Deshaun Watson, who everybody was championing before, what happened to him. Or from Le'Veon Bell or anybody else that's ever held out. Please, somebody tell me how that was different. How does Aaron Rodgers holding out become holding the team hostage? I don't really understand. How is that different from Russ Wilson, who 100% was doing the same thing? And I know he didn't say anything, but his agent literally came out and said it. So there's that. But how is that any different? I don't understand where this narrative from Aaron Rodgers comes from. And so, like I was saying, if you just saw the actions, because I'm not sitting here watching Aaron Rodgers post-game press conferences and following that and whatever. I just watched the play. And I saw, from when he played, like, dude, this man is amazing. He's changing the game. And then you hear, say something, whatever. And so some people just really formed this opinion off I'm not sure what. But then enter the Pat McAfee show. And then you really get an insight into what type of person he is, not just a player. And I get if you just dislike the player because of your allegiance, but there were so many people always talking about how cocky and conceited and that XYZ he was. Like, you might have heard former teammates say stuff, but you heard former teammates say great things about him too. So why do you take more weight with the people that say negative things? Or you heard a lot of former teammates say negative things about Tom Brady and what type of player he is, or Peyton Manning. Like, they might be demanding. That might not be their type of leadership style. Okay, cool. Not everybody's going to love it, but to sit here and try to formulate this identity about Aaron Rodgers when you didn't even know anything, especially, like I said, the summer just showed it. There was so much talk, and Skip Bayless is a troll, so I don't take much that he says seriously, but he was the leader of it. But you have so many people talking about this as if like literally just making things up. This man never said one word until he came back, and there's just people making stuff up. You have people who were former teammates or whatever telling you what they speculated, and then people, oh, well, his teammate and that teammate said that, so Aaron is clearly doing this. Aaron is clear. This is clearly about the money. This is clearly about Jordan Love. He's clearly looking. No, there's nothing clear. You're just making stuff up. And so then you get into the Pat McAfee show, and again, like for me, it was just really to play. And I was like, I've never heard him do nothing crazy. And, outside the field, nothing that took him out of the game. So he's on the field, and I see him playing well. So then you get to the Pat McAfee show, and you start to see, because I was there from, like, the first interview, and you see, like, what type of person he is, and I don't get it. I don't get what people are upset of. Like, you still, again, you just see the actions. And the actions from Aaron Rodgers you only saw on the field. Y'all didn't, there was no real presence of following all his exploits off the field, really. So you're just going off the actions. I don't see what you got out of this man in the way he plays and the way he conducts himself with his team. Like, I guess it's the belt double count, discount, double check. Boy, you know how many people celebrate? Are we really mad he celebrates? Everybody in the league is doing Justin Jefferson's dance. Like, come on, celebrations? What is it that triggered y'all? So now you come into the words. On the Pat McAfee show, you get to hear this man really talk about a lot of things, what he thinks. And I, again, was a fan just off of a football standpoint. But, man, this dude knows football, which obviously as a great quarterback, you got to. There's a lot of positions you can fake IQ with, but you cannot fake it at quarterback. So he knows football. He loves football. Deep details, loves the intricacies, loves the whole process, all that stuff. And then, his stuff outside of football he talks about, but it is very clear that the man thinks about the stuff that he says. He looks into these things. So when I see the media, again, usually taking a clip, almost every time, well, I didn't watch the whole thing. So you just heard one part and you don't know Aaron Rodgers. Again, you just going off one little part of what he said. You're not listening to his full words. And they keep coming back with these ideas and labels and thoughts when you don't even fully listen. I would challenge anybody that listens to this man fully to turn around and tell me what the problem is, because I do not see it. There's 100% chance that he could be doing things that I don't know about, that I will never get to see, that makes him terrible. But again, the actions and the words, the things we've seen, I don't see it. I really don't see it. Obviously, the vaccination thing is political, which it really shouldn't be, but it is. And so everybody took, their own spin on that. But when you listen to it, it's very, very cut and dry. All this anti-vax, he didn't say he's anti-vax. He said everybody should make that choice for themselves. He's cool with players that are vaccinated. He's cool with players that's not vaccinated. He's not an anti-vaxxer. And then all this, he lied. He didn't lie. You couldn't lie. Like, everybody in the media, literally, for days, I watched, and there's no apology. There never is when they're wrong. Literally misinformation all day long. All they said, oh, he lied. He put his teammates in danger. He put the organization in danger. He lied to everybody. He's a big liar. He's so self-absorbed. He thinks he's bigger than everybody. He lied. No, he didn't. And this is after he came out and told everybody what happened. They still continue to lie on him. The man told you, There's no way the NFL didn't know. There's no way the team didn't know. He followed the protocol. Like, stop it. Stop it. And the things he didn't follow, I don't really agree with the whole misdirect with the media as far as immunization. At that point, he was being considered to be under vaccinated status by the NFL due to his immunization. They didn't make a decision yet. So he could have, obviously he didn't want to get into the details of it. And he said that he really just wanted to mitigate it becoming a big thing. So he just said yes rather than just saying, actually, I'm pinned in, I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. I don't agree with that. But that's the way he did it. But to sit here and spin that until he lied to everybody only comes from the media, who he misdirected, and they feel that they are everybody. But even still with that, he had his reasoning for it. The reason he didn't get vaccinated, he has his reasoning for it. The reason he doesn't like certain rules or whatever, he has his reasoning for it. And this idea of just shut up and listen is silly. We see it all across the country. You might not see it in your place of work and living, but I see it where I work everywhere. People have to question it. We're not just going to blindly do it. Like, their 100% is a capitalist angle, and the government will do things that are going to favor business before people. That's not a crazy assumption. And there's a lot of people that want to do things just to get things back to normal. And so the idea that, okay, we said this is the way to do it, so just do it. Like, no, people can push back. That is the way of democracy. And so I have no problems with that. And then the other stuff that he talks about, like, again, he gives this reasoning. The picture that people paint make it seem like he just sits there and declares things and he's right just because he's right. No, he talks about the sources. He talks about who he talked with. He talked about the pros and cons, and he talks about how he formulates things. That's not just vaccination. That's not just COVID. That's everything. From stuff happening in the league, from stuff in his personal life, from stuff with the team, he talks about his thought process, and you really get to see how this person arrives to those decisions, and people still trash him. It's crazy to me. And so I just don't get it. I never got it. Not from a playing standpoint to this. I do not get where people come off saying he's smug, he's arrogant, he's blah, blah, blah. Like, how? Where? What are you looking at that you're getting that from? I don't see it. So that's me. Obviously, like I said, with the whole MVP voting thing, that was silly. The only thing that I'll add is I don't see why the NFLPA doesn't do their own awards. Nothing's stopping them. I mean, it ain't hard. It's just, voting. Like, you could just do an electronic Google form or whatever you want. They have access to all the players. You could have a day. Well, they're all spread out, so I wouldn't say they all come to one building, especially during COVID. But you could do it electronically. Like I said, whoever returns the vote returns it. Whoever doesn't, doesn't. And you could come out with the NFLPA MVP. You could come out the NFLPA Defensive Player of the Year. I don't see why they just don't do that. I mean, I do think there's value in objective, media, but to think that people don't have their own biases is silly. We all know they do. So I don't see, and it's not that the players aren't objective. They will be super subjective. But at the same time, a lot of people are against it because they're like, who are these people voting? We don't know them. We don't know their credentials about football. Well, if you let your peers vote, then we can have a better result. And we all know that they love the NFL Top 100 because it comes from other players. So I think the NFLPA should do that. All right, that's it for me. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.